for,
There we go.
from my viewpoint, this is really no different than what we covered on the Vegas shooting. You know, I mean, as far as the base issues, as far as, let's ban guns. Let's, no, it's no. So.
I got you. Oh, we met our first real life fan today.
Oh?
Or not really. I wouldn't go as far as fan. Somebody who's heard of the show.
Oh.
He was a fan of the T-shirt.
Yeah, he liked the T-shirt. I should have sold it to him. Then we could have 2 sales.
Fuck yeah, man.
Walk out there topless.
Speaking of which.
Yeah.
There we go. I wore mine yesterday.
Hang on, I think Katie just got home.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she just got home.
So not used to hearing that voice about being able to be on Facebook Live.
What?
Yeah, just so used to not being able to do it.
That's right. Where's my fucking notification? Well, we're broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell, man? I didn't get my notification. Are we broadcasting to the right page?
I hope so. All right, here we go. Now I think we're officially going live. Yeah, now I think we are officially live.
All right.
All right.
Here we are.
Yep. Horace is gone. Holy crap.
Horace is gone.
We just can't keep this shit together. Holy hell.
No, we just can't do it.
Hi, everybody. My name's Luke. That's Halston right there.
Here I am, Halston in the house.
And that's Horace's couch. Horace
Horace's
decided
couch.
to jump up and bounce out. I think his lovely wife, Katie, got home. So, and this is Uncivil Liberty. We're now broadcasting on Facebook. Again. We haven't lost our privileges in the past couple of weeks, so we're gonna hopefully keep it that way. Hi, say hi, Horace. Say hi. No.
Hello.
There he is. There he is. He's.
Are
rocking.
Are we live?
Oh my God! Yes, that's the worst. That's the one thing you don't say when you are actually live. Jesus Christ, get it together.
Well, I was away from the thing, so I didn't know if you'd hit the button yet or not. And it usually,
And this train wreck is Uncivil Liberty. Check us out, Uncivil Liberty Show on Facebook. Check us out our website, uncivilliberty.com. I have not touched that thing in a hot minute. I probably need to fall back and do some work on that thing. Been working on a lot of other cool sites. I've got a couple other cool sites that are floating around. Let me throw them out there.
Leaving Libertarian.
Yeah.
Well, okay. There's a Facebook page, Leaving Libertarian, which is that's a story for a whole nother episode. That's a Facebook page I've been focusing on. But
it has a web page attached to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Just a lot of other web work. I'm trying to actually get the show page pulled up on my handy dandy iPad. I'm not an Apple fan at all. But yeah, today, so we have the website, we're on YouTube, we have the Twitter thing.
The Twitter
podcast
and the podcast. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Do we know how good the podcast is doing, or if it's even doing anything at all?
As far as so far. As far as the stats I have seen, and I haven't looked at them lately, on from the webpage itself, which is done through Blueberry, we've had 1 hit. The last time I looked at iTunes, we had, I think, 7.
Mm-hmm.
This is good.
So Google, I haven't looked at recently. So
hey, Kristen, what's up, Kylie? There's my sister.
Oh, what? We got people coming in? Holy crap.
Yeah, shit.
There has not been a whole lot of attention to the podcast so far, though. No.
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, and honestly...
We got to pimp it out, guys.
Yeah, we got to do better at that. That's...
Bunch of mark-ass tricks. Got to get that shit out there. Yeah, Luke's frozen. And there there you are. Am
Yep.
I frozen?
Going in on, I guess I have too many devices on my router. I think that's
What the
that's.
fuck? All right.
Yeah. Am I frozen again?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Because I don't know if I'm frozen because I just keep talking. I see myself moving on the screen, so I figure everything's good to go. All right.
Yeah.
So tonight we're talking about making education safe again. I think it's a pretty important topic given the shenanigans that have gone on in Florida, and a lot of different places. Even here in Alabama, I think Sparkman had these punk ass kids were making threats against the high school here.
Yeah, Buckhorn High School.
Buckhorn, yeah, that was another one. No, so it wasn't Sparkman, it was Buckhorn. That's what it was.
Then there was another one where they actually found a rifle, but there wasn't a threat. It was some dickhead.
Was that in California? I think I saw that.
No, it was in Madison City, I think.
Oh.
I thought it was Madison City. It may have been Madison County. You know what? May have been fucking China. I don't really know.
No, that had the knife attack. The knife attack that took out 33 people.
Yeah.
Killed
Yeah,
33
That's not real life.
Wounded,
yeah, it's China.
Wounded over 100, I believe.
Yeah, that is motivation. I mean, like,
Yeah.
because I posted that on the Uncivil Liberty page. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
it takes ambition and dedication. Anybody can walk into any place with a gun and pull a trigger. You've really got to be dedicated to wield a knife and to do that much damage. That's intense. That's a lot of mental illness. Let's go with that. That's a lot of mental illness. But that's also kind of what we're talking about today. So, Halson, you said you want to take the soapbox on this one, so please feel free.
So
I figure this iPad shit out.
Yeah, let's figure this iPad shit out. So yeah, I wanted to. There's always, every time this happens, which kind of sucks that we have to say that every time this happens, because it does happen quite a bit. But it's always the same shit, and it's always the same dichotomous arguments. It's let's ban guns. Oh no, it's mental health. Oh no, it's guns. Oh no, the guns mental health is, there's no mental health help for guns or whatever. Whatever. It's all just it's the same bullshit arguments over and over and over that never really fix anything. So I thought maybe we could brainstorm. Here with how our podcast is doing, we got millions of downloads. Maybe we can spark some interest in actually changing something.
You want to brainstorm with me?
Yeah.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Yeah. So there have been a couple of, they're not really new ideas, but there's some interesting things that more people have been talking about now, and we have a couple of bills that are in the Alabama House now, which is talking about arming teachers, and I think that's really stupid.
See, I don't.
Well, I think it's saying arming teachers, right? Like, to me, when I say I'm going to arm you, I'm going to give you a gun, which means that somewhere down the line, taxpayers going to have to give a gun, and now we're giving teachers this responsibility of taking care of children, other than, like, right now they have to teach them, and then we're supposed to be asking them to take a bullet and be a marksman for kids as well. But I think in my opinion, the better approach would be, if the teachers want to carry, then let them carry. But saying that we're going to arm the teachers I think that's a little irresponsible.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, all of a sudden my audio came on the iPad, so we're gonna have to sort of what's going on. So I fixed that real quick, like. All right. So no, all right. So that idea I'm okay with. And what you could even do is, it shouldn't be mandatory, but it should be something where if they don't go and they get some sort of tactical certification, even have, and I'm not a fan of law enforcement, but have law enforcement develop some sort of, tactical response for the classroom course, and say, hey, look, if you take this course, you get a sidearm or whatever, you get a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that.
But and someone, I think Amanda and I were talking, it's like, well, the teachers aren't mentally, may not be mentally competent or mentally healthy enough to be able to, to be trusted with a firearm. Why the fuck are they teaching? That's
right.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like having that cop, who's always in fear of his life, so he's going to shoot anything that moves. Like, you may not necessarily be ready for this job. Maybe we need to bust you down to meter maid, let you kind of get your bearings a little bit.
Yeah, let you get your shit together.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely don't agree with going out and purchasing 25,000 Glocks and handing them out to every teacher. because there are a lot of people who think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
No, Desert Eagle's a way much better option.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Big old $1,500 piece of shit. Yeah. So I don't think that's a good idea. But I think the premise, right, the idea of why we would want to do this is a pretty good idea, because when you look at, which is going to bring me to something else too that more people have brought up. So remind me that I need to think about what I just said. Just
Okay.
you guys keep
Noted.
track of my shit here.
I'm gonna try to.
So, fuck, where was I?
Oh my God! I was going for a pen. I was reaching for a pen, and I was like, I'm gonna start writing stuff down. And now I'm
Right. So almost in every situation where it's not like a suicide by cop, right? So we have like Aurora and which was a couple years ago, and then we had the last few shootings. Especially in a school, and it's especially these 18-year-old kids, where there's that church shooting with Dylan Roof, or it's this other kid that was in South Carolina, or this recent kid. As soon as something happens, they stop, whether it's their firearm jams or the cops get there or whatever. Everything stops. As opposed to, like, there's some memes that have been popping up. It's like, how did these skinny little white kids get arrested alive while these black kids get arrested, or they end up dying, or they had like the Eric Garner type of situation.
Mhm.
And it's because these little chicken chick dick armed motherfuckers feel like men. Like, it's like, oh, I got this gun, bang 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 bang, oh shit, there's the cops, let me drop my shit and get my shit together. Whereas the other guy's like, well, I'm just selling loose cigarettes, motherfucker, why are you messing with me? Right? And so they're more confrontational, so they end up dying, which is bullshit. Of course we don't agree with that, but these little bitches, something happens and they stop, right? So if that's something that happened to be the front office lady pulls out her Glock and shoots this kid, right? Or pulls out the Glock and shoots at the kid. If they have been stopping every time they meet some sort of force, why wouldn't that work in the future? I'm not saying that it's always going to work or that it is the absolute solution, but if we have the opportunity to present some sort of speed bump or whatever for these people when they come into school, you pull out a gun, you shoot at them, and they stop. Then that's the end of the day, right? There's some trauma for whoever had to pull the trigger. There may be this dead kid that decides, the one that decided to shoot up the school, he may end up dying or whatever, but that's kind of that's the dice you roll when you're trying to be a dickhead.
Yep.
So that's why I think that the arming teachers, I don't know about that, but definitely allowing teachers to carry if they want
Oh
to.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
Maybe concealed, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
I mean, and honestly, it should be concealed, because the last thing you want is a student getting their hands on it, and then that's just a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
All around.
And
It should be secured. No doubt.
Yeah, and let's face it, like, we live in Alabama. There's fucking teachers already carrying. I can guarantee you.
Yeah,
There are
gun-free
teachers
zone don't mean nothing. That's more of a
that shit
suggestion
in
than it is a
Alabama.
rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that's the stuff that I'm okay with, because like I stated before, if I'm entrusting these strangers to pretty much be in charge of my kid for 8 hours a day, if I don't trust them enough to be able to protect my kid, I shouldn't be sending them to school.
Right.
Bottom
That's
line.
yeah. Yes.
And
But I don't think that bullet catcher is in their job title.
no,
Yeah.
but that's why you get them a bonus, or that will get them
Right.
a nice Kevlar vest.
Give them the option.
Hook them up with full plates.
There you go.
Let them teach class in full
Put
battle
on one of
round.
those fucking EOD suits.
Oh my God, yes, that'd be great. No, but in all seriousness, there's a lot of shit going on with this topic. And honestly, my Facebook feed has been so congested with, and honestly, it's mostly libertarian traffic. Every now and then you get the gun grabber, and every now and then you get the gun lover. But the libertarian back and forth on this, like I watch the libertarian groups hardcore, and it is a fucking nightmare. Just inside, because you would think that the libertarian, whether it's big L, little L, they're all gonna fall on the same side. Oh fuck no.
Libertarian groups are being a clusterfuck?
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know
actually-
it's a shocker.
I actually read a libertarian post today that was about banning the AR-15.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that makes
Anyway,
absolutely no sense.
but-
I mean, I've gotten
One of our viewers, my precious little sister, Said maybe they get training though. Yeah, absolutely, they
That's
get
what I'm
training.
saying. That's no. That's the last thing I want is an untrained person to be carrying a firearm. Period.
Right.
I don't care
Yeah.
who they are, what they do for a living, but yeah, definitely
Well,
training through some sort of local police.
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
some sort of certification.
Sure.
that brings a question to mind. Something you just said. You
Mhm.
said you don't want anyone untrained.
Yeah,
Um,
preferably.
does that mean you disagree with the shall issue rules?
All right, enlighten me, Horace.
You got us.
There's two ways to handle concealed carry: may
Mhm.
issue, shall issue.
Mm-hmm.
May issue leaves it up to
Oh,
the administrative authority to decide whether they will issue it or not.
shall issue is they don't have a choice.
Well, unless there is a verifiable reason, such as they shouldn't have a gun in the first place, basically, they shall issue the permit. Period.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
No, that's I mean I definitely fall on the shall. Honestly, I don't think there should be any oversight as far as that goes. And I'm just saying, just from a pragmatic perspective, that I don't
Okay.
feel confident if anybody who doesn't have some level of training, walking around with a loaded piece. And
Understandable,
that-
but
that-
it's just
Yeah, I'm not talking about from an administrative or legislative perspective, because honestly, the less you involve the state, the better, in my mind.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's kind of where I was going. It's like, are you actually presenting a statist?
No.
No.
And I'm just my eyes bleed just watching these people who call themselves libertarians who are just like, we need bigger government to control this, and I'm just like, where am I?
Right.
And that's
Which that brings me to my next point.
do it,
Excellent fucking segue.
do it.
So-
We didn't plan this, guys. This is straight out of our ass. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So
As every episode is.
Yes.
right. So we can when you look at this from very, very high level, when you look at this and you start removing things about this particular situation, right? Not all mass shootings, because they happen all over the fucking place, whether it's a mall or a concert or whatever. But this particular one inside of a school, if you remove AR-15s from the picture, could this have happened? Absolutely. He could have done it with a fucking slingshot, right? If you remove firearms from it, yes, he could have gone through and stabbed some kids, right? What if you just remove all the children from the school, right? What if you didn't rely so much on the state to take care and educate your children? What if we went back as a society, but back to making that your responsibility, or you send them to private school or whatever? It's your responsibility to take care of your own children. Obviously, these are high school. Obviously, we don't live in that type of society right now. It's public school, but if you were to remove this clemency bullshit where you got to send your kids to school, and if you remove that, how can there be a school shooting without kids at a school? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's a good question. And for me, one of the questions that popped up in my feed on one of the posts was, in private schools, how many mass shootings have there been?
Right.
In fact, in private schools, how much violence at all is there?
Right.
There may be the occasional assault, and then those kids get kicked the fuck
It's the
out.
occasional kids being kids, and they're fighting over Doritos or some chick who's looking at them. It's petty shit. You only really hear this in a public setting. Now, for the record, for those of you who are listening and actually give a shit, with my older two, they are, I won't say homeschooled, but they go through a virtual school, so it's tied in with public education. But they're sitting their asses at home. I work from home. My significant other, she works from home. So we have that ability. I understand that, in this culture, people are usually working outside the home. But, one thing Amanda did bring up too is something that, we were talking about last night is, where do we get to the point where we have, we allowed our society to force us to become a dual income family as a whole?
Right.
There's not, and it's not gender roles. So before people start losing their shit over saying, stay-at-home moms, blah blah blah. No, I'm just saying, where there's one parent has the ability to kind of stay home and be the parent instead of having to rely on the school to do it.
Yeah.
And we saw this massive shift probably back when we were kids, in the 80s.
Yep.
where dual income became more and more, not so much I would say a luxury as much as a necessity. Coming off some economic hard times where you had to have both parents outside the home. That's where you had the beginning of latchkey children.
And it's not so much economic hard times either. It's also American affluence, like
Right.
which is another fucking problem that I want to talk about as well.
Oh, is that another segue?
Yeah, I mean, maybe
I just
not
helped
yet,
something.
but
Okay.
really, it's affluence. 100 years ago, or 100 years ago, when a family owned firearms, they owned the firearms that they needed because they didn't have tens of thousands of dollars to waste on shit like I have over my life. I have no fucking use for most of the shit that I have. But back then, they maybe had a handgun when they were on their horse, they had a handgun, they had a lever action rifle, they had a shotgun. So they had several tools that they needed, but they didn't have anything more than they needed. But now when you have more money, you buy more guns, and when you don't want those anymore, you sell them. So then they go to someone else, and everyone starts to lose track of them really quickly.
Yeah, I saw that pop up too.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So
I care about what you're saying. I
Right.
care. Trust me. You can put whatever you want to in the chat. I care. Carlson might not care, but I do, and that's all that really matters, right?
yeah. What chat? I had something else.
Oh,
Some
okay. I'm
bullshit
sorry.
I talked about.
Your sister,
I'm back.
popped in.
Oh,
and
what the hell is
she
she?
said something.
What
Hi,
the
Katie.
fuck? Right.
Hi, Laura.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. She's absolutely right. That doesn't work for some, but that's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is hypothetically speaking, if you remove, because that's what all we're talking about. We don't know shit. Everybody keeps saying Australia, they got rid of guns and this and this and that. I'm just saying hypothetically, if we take all the children out of school and return that back to the parents' responsibility to educate them, whether it be sending them to school voluntarily, because it's not voluntary right now.
No.
It's not an option. You either homeschool them to a curriculum at some point, or you send them to the K-12 online school, or you send them to a school because you have to, or you'll get fucking arrested because that's the way the laws work now. But if you remove children from schools can't get shot up. Well, the buildings can, but nobody dies. You know what I mean? That's just hypothetically speaking, that is a solution.
Let's discuss Australia for just a second. And y'all may have already covered
Oh, please
this.
do.
If so, just tell me you've already covered it.
We have.
We've already covered.
But-
it. All right, moving on. I'm just messing with you.
Okay, Australia, their ban only got between 25 and 30% of the guns out there. They
Right.
did not get them all by a long shot. And as of right now, they are actually now above pre-ban levels.
Right.
So they now have more guns than before the ban went into place.
But see, but that doesn't make for good memes. That doesn't make for really shitty leftist memes. And
No, it doesn't.
I don't give a fuck about leftists.
I'm just letting you
know.
know that if you're gonna try to make some really cool anti-gun memes, this right here is not gonna do you any favors.
Right. But
And
that's the thing. I understand the leftist memes. I understand it. Your fucking feelings are hurt. I understand it. Mine are
Fuck
too.
your
I can't.
feelings.
Well, my feelings hurt when a bunch of kids get shot up. Yeah, fuck you. That is a good shirt. Remind me of that at the end of the show. I'm making a shirt.
I'm gonna write that down.
But when a bunch of kids get shot up, I mean, your heart should hurt a little bit. You should be like, God damn it,
Yeah.
But that you don't just start irrationally making decisions and hope that it's like throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. That's just not what you do. It works for a podcast, obviously.
Well,
but
I mean, go ahead.
I don't fuck. That was the end.
Oh, that was in. Okay. No, I didn't want to interrupt. But I mean, as a parent, I had to have a conversation that I never thought I was going to have. And actually sitting down with my older two, because my younger two, they're just way too young. Down the line we'll have the conversation. But we had to sit down and actually discuss what happened. They had questions about it. Why would somebody do this, that, and the other? But we had to have the gun conversation. We actually pulled out the gun that we have. Wasn't loaded. I'm not stupid. And put it out there saying, hey, this is not a toy. This is not something that you just run around and try to be tactical Timmy with. These are designed to take a life, and it's not a bad thing. It just is,
Yep.
A gun is like a credit card is what I told them. It's not good or bad. It's not all in how you use it.
And I will argue one thing you said.
What's that?
They are not designed to take a life. They are designed to throw a projectile downrange at speed.
At the
That's
target.
all.
But nobody
How
really.
they're-
Nobody
how
really
they're
goes
used-
out and no one really goes out and buys a gun just for for really just target practice anymore. Most people get it. Most people get it for personal defense.
Most people do, yeah.
And they're not defending themselves from from pigeons. They're
I mean, I would say like the first dude that designed a gun wasn't like, you know what, I'd really like to hit that target a lot fucking faster.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he was an Olympic competitive shooter. He's
probably like, how do I get these big
that's
motherfuckers off of
fine,
me a lot faster?
because these my kids need to know that there are bad people out there, and if you rely on do what
It's watching you right now is like watching a Japanese movie. The audio and video is way out of sync.
really?
It's not for me.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's like really bad dub over. I guess I apologize. I guess my bandwidth. Thanks, WoW, for providing such great internet bandwidth. But
it's amusing.
I forgot where I was going with that. But I mean, we had that conversation that I don't think that very many parents even have with their kids. But I know that the majority of parents don't want to have with their kids.
Right.
And explaining, that this could happen at any school. The school in Florida was actually voted the area was voted one of the safest places in Florida to raise your kids. Not anymore.
Yeah.
And so to sit there and think that it can't happen, in Athens or in Montgomery, or especially Montgomery, it's kind of naive. Any school is open to something like this. And so where do we as people and we as parents kind of take a step back and say, when do we stop relying on the state to provide the security for our families and for ourselves? And that's a question that nobody's really asking. Everyone wants to treat the symptom, they don't want to treat the disease.
Yep. And that's go ahead.
And what I related them is the disease is the fact that we've had 20 years of war. We've had 20 years of propagating and demonizing people and saying, hey, it's okay to go and kill people because of a different skin color or a different religion. It's cool, it's fine, it's whatever. There's no respect for human life, whether it's from the Democrats or from the Republicans or even some libertarians. They don't care. Life, it means nothing unless it happens to one of their kids.
That's exactly right.
And so we have bred a culture, and it's not violent video games, violent music. I play violent video games. Huge Battlefield fan right here. Play it all the time. Hit me up if you want to play sometime. Man Bear Pig 2018 on Xbox. Violent music, but I've never shot anybody up. Even when I was in the Army, I was actually a medic. I fixed people who were shot up. It's the culture. It's the ways that we've allowed society through politics primarily to be able to dictate that the sanctity of life only matters if you are a white American or if you're just an American in general.
Well, I think there is that, but there's also another aspect, and that is especially the generation we are seeing do so much of this have grown up to where there are no repercussions. There is no personal responsibility.
That's a valid point. We've also created a culture where it's a bad thing to discipline your kids. You're a good parent if you go out and drop $1,000 for a 9-year-old to have a damn iPhone, but you're a bad parent if you make them go pick a switch. And if you're not from the South, chances are you probably don't necessarily understand the sheer terror that goes through the back of your mind whenever you hear your parents say go pick a switch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how much I agree with that, just because I agree with being able to pick a switch and discipline your children. I don't know how much I agree with like Columbine happened, and this was like in 94 or 96 or whatever. Those kids got their asses kicked. You know what I mean? Their dad whipped their ass, I'm sure. Or maybe not. Maybe they were little rich shits that got everything handed to them. I don't remember. But so I don't know that it has so much to do with discipline, but it definitely has a lot to do with the culture that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, it's okay for for people my age and younger to have gone overseas to kill people who are brown, and that's all we've ever done. That's all we know. Right. We've never, the generations before us were yellow, right? If you were Asian, you died, and that's pretty much the way it is. We hated Chinese, we hated the Koreans, we hated the Vietnamese. And then before that, it was white on white crime, and they're like, whoa, let's stop that. Bullshit. Yeah, let's kill other people.
Yeah, you can't have that now. That's just not American.
But I was looking at some stats the other day because of the fact that these people are like, yeah, we've got to stop killing the children. Well, motherfucker, over the last 8 years, the United States military has killed 900,000 children under 5 years old. 900,000.
Yep.
Children under 5. Yep. Not fucking high schoolers. Not people who have lived long enough to get their cherry popped. We're talking about fucking 5-year-olds. Right. So go blow it out your ass. You've been voting for these same motherfuckers for the last 8 years because, oh, they're Democrats, they love everybody, or oh, they're Republicans, they love our paychecks. Get the fuck out of here, man.
No, and that's one thing too, is that you have the people who were hardcore on the Obama wagon. They thought that the sun shone out of his ass, when in all actuality he utilized a drone to assassinate a 16-year-old American citizen.
Yep.
Overseas.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with no recourse. So you want to sit there and you want to blame Trump and blame Bush. Hey, Obama's not clear on this. He utilized our weaponry to wipe out kids, and that's okay. That's fine, because as long as they're not us, it doesn't matter. When it impacts us, though, when it impacts one of our own in our schools here, that's when we have a problem with it.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, what you were talking about, Bush is Obama is Trump.
Yep.
From that viewpoint, there ain't a bit of fucking difference.
No, they're all the same.
All right. I got to tag in Katie. Katie is watching, so I'm going to address the comment that you made. That is not necessarily true.
Right.
Catherine, her mom taught at Johnson High School, where they were constantly confiscating guns. There were multiple times where they were on lockdown because of gunshots in the parking lot between students. It's not just a white thing. It is an all-income. It is not subject to race. It happens
into a school with cargo pants and some sort of long gun is a white thing. That's a white thing.
Okay, I will do that.
But shooting up schools. Schools almost get shot up every day, but not necessarily recorded. Like you're not. It's not just some dude coming in to shoot 17 kids. There are definitely Hispanic and black majority students, majority schools that are shooting at each other in the parking lots or football games or basketball games or whatever. So it's definitely not a white thing.
Your sister's chiming in. I was just kind of reading her comment. Society-based.
Fucking old Kylie. Just keep it in one sentence or less.
Society bases their value on how many likes and shares they get. Yeah, I mean we are in an instant gratification mentality. I mean that's what I do is marketing, so I'm fully aware of the way people operate. You're exactly right. It's all about virility, I guess. Is that the right veracity? I don't know. One of those words. Likes, shares. What's going to get the most attention for the next 5 minutes on one of these social media outlets? Totally get that. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think, but I was tying it all back in. I think it has a lot to do with the home. Schools are shit because a lot of homes are shit.
Yep.
And that's a lot of it has to do with the fact that parents are relatively emotionally detached compared to 100 years ago, where they were more involved in the day-to-day life of their kids.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And Katie, you are correct. The last sentence, we left that off because we want to seem right and we want you to seem wrong all the time. No, that only the white kids want this sort of celebrity. Yes, that is absolutely true. There's that's absolutely true. There's not a black kid in America that goes into a high school to shoot people up so he can get on the news and show everybody his Trump hat.
I will give that. Usually there's a little bit better reasoning, and not necessarily, maybe not better, but a little more logical reasoning. Okay, maybe that's not the best word.
Those bitches not
Something,
repping his set or whatever.
Sure, that we'll go with that. We'll go with that one. Well,
bitches be tripping.
What do we know? We're just a bunch of white guys, on camera.
Yeah, exactly. But go back to the schools, right? Well, back to what you were saying, parenting. We are a lot less attached to our children's lives than our parents were. Well, not all of our parents, than some of our parents were. And but the generation before our parents, those people, our grandparents, they were attached to their children's lives. They were. It was maybe not so much "I love you, buddy, come sit on my lap, let's watch cartoons," but let's go out and milk the cows together. It's kind of a flashback to better times for some people. The 50s weren't great for everybody. Let's fucking face it.
Oh, yeah.
But for cornbread white folks in Nebraska, they were pretty fucking good. So yes, we are out of touch with our children's lives a lot more than we were as a society. So there may be parents today that don't even know their kids, their 18-year-olds, or they have a 22 or an AR-15 or a shotgun under their bed. They may have no fucking clue because their kids are old enough to go buy one. So yeah, if you're more in touch with your kid's life and you care enough about them to understand, then you probably have a better shot at keeping them on path.
And
on path to do good things, not
on
the right path.
I don't want to
The
go
golden
absolutes like that, but on a better path, I guess.
Right.
And that's that's one of the things that we addressed when we had the sit down conversation is we've decided that we are going to teach them how to shoot. We're going to teach them how to defend themselves. We're going to start them incrementally. 22 rifle. And work our way up from there, so that they feel confident that if they come across a situation like that, they can A, properly defend themselves if they have access to a firearm, or B, if they come across a firearm, they know what to do. They know how to clear it. They know how to make it safe.
Yeah.
And get it into the appropriate hands.
Yeah.
It's sad that this is the way the world's working, and this is the societal norm. But it's kind of it's the fucking you get for the fucking you gave.
Exactly.
And if you don't like the effect, change the cause. If you don't like the symptom of the disease, well, let's get rid of the disease. And honestly, the overall disease is just our value on life. We don't find value in life unless it's a high school kid.
Yep.
Here in America.
And that's one of the biggest arguments that I've been in over the last few days was gun owners and conservatives, right? Whether it be Republicans or real conservatives, say we always bring it back to, well, this is how many people died in these cities, right? And there have been so many people on the left say, oh, well, all you guys, you're just talking about this, so you're trying to say that the problem is black people and inner city kids. You think that's the problem when it's really white kids shooting up schools. Well, it's actually the reverse, because you only give a shit when it's white kids getting shot. You only care when it happens in white bread schools. Because little young black children get shot all the time. And when I say young black children, 18 and below, they're getting shot almost every day. Hispanic kids in LA get shot every single day. And you don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
But because also, in all fairness to that point, though, you don't see people like the media whores like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson saying shit about what's going on now.
Nope.
Right.
So it's called sensationalism. All right.
It is sensational.
And so whether it's coming from the white bread side or the not white bread side, it doesn't matter. It's all about sensationalism, because that's the way media works. It's not about journalism. It's not about finding the truth. It's all about spurring an emotional reaction. It's propaganda. It's pretty much all is what it is.
It is. You're absolutely right.
Horse, you had something to say?
No.
Well, what the fuck are you doing here then?
No, I was thinking about an article I read, because one of the things that that is always coming up is let's ban assault rifles. Let's ban assault rifles. But you show somebody two rifles, namely the AR-15 and a Ruger Mini 14.
Right.
They'll let the Mini Ruger 14 stay.
Yeah.
AR-15's got to go.
Yep.
Well, I was reading an article that and this guy admits he doesn't know much about guns.
It's the
But
same
he said
gun.
he
It's the same freaking gun, just a different cosmetic piece to it.
well, there are some other minor differences.
Minor, but
Yeah,
it
they're
doesn't
very
change the
well,
functionality of it.
magazines are not interchangeable.
Right. But they
So,
shoot. They're both 223.
You know,
Thank you.
The Mini 14 barrel can't take my type of abuse, but there's that.
but you know, he admitted he didn't know much about guns, but he said, you know, you're always saying that, you know, these other rifles work the exact same way. If so, they should be banned too.
Right.
It's like, wow, we have someone who's actually listening and, you know, admitting that, yeah, he just wants to ban guns, not just assault rifles, which is a bullshit term if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also-
That was a. Go ahead, Luke.
I was going to say it's what you're kind of seeing in a lot of these, quote unquote conversations on social media is, these fully automatic weapons. I'm like, if you've ever purchased or shot a civilian AR-15, it's not. You don't get 3-round bursts. The military only has 3-round bursts. These are not fully automatic. I'm like, okay, unless you have a bump stock, and even then, that's. But
That's bullshit.
let's look at it logistically, though. I mean, the AR-15 M4 model is not accurate for shit in an automatic mode. It is spray and pray.
It's spray and pray.
That's why the military teaches you don't flip it on full round burst or 3-round burst unless you need to do suppressive fire.
Yep.
You shoot with a purpose. You get your groupings. You learn how to shoot like that. And it's funny because you see these people who have never touched one, they've never shot one, they know nothing about it, but it's demonized because somebody tells them that it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very closed-minded approach. You take and I'll be the first one to admit, my lovely lady was very much anti AR-15 when we first got together. Very much. She was like, we'll never have one in the house. Took her to the range, had her shoot one. She loves it. It's a hell of a lot. It's easier to control than a handgun, and she changed her mind because she got more information, and she was able to say, hey, look, maybe I was wrong on that.
Well, I mean, for me, the AR-15, or hell, pretty much any 223 5.56, it's a fun gun to take down to the range and target shoot.
Yep.
It's okay for small to mid-game hunting. That's about the only uses it's good for, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they even use guns in the Air Force?
No, we just cleaned them for the Marines.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Shut up, Ben. I was in the Army too, you dick.
Chair Force.
But yeah, so what on that same note that you guys are talking about, so I read this study they did in Stanford, where they took 50 liberal women who wanted to be gun owners, right? They're the California liberal. They don't have guns, but they wanted a gun because they were either moving or some bullshit. I didn't read that part because it's not important. Mm. They let them try a 38 snub nose, a 380 semi-automatic, a 9mm full size, a 45 full size, a 40 cal full size, a 45 long Colt lever action,
a lot of guns,
a 223 Ruger, Mossberg pump action shotgun, Mossberg 500 with a pistol grip, and a Remington 870 shotgun, and an AR-15. 50 out of 50, 100% said that the AR-15 was the easiest gun they felt the safest with. It was the most efficient, the most accurate, the most lightweight, and the best one they could handle. And this is one liberals want to ban. Those sexist fucking monsters want to ban the woman's favorite gun.
I know, I agree.
But that's another thing that they don't consider is this. It is a very practical gun for those people. Not if you live in an apartment, you better not be guarding your fucking house with an AR-15. All you're gonna do is shoot all your fucking neighbors. But if you live on some acreage and you have a fear of coyotes, you have a fear of people coming up and approaching your yard from a distance, it's a great gun. And also plinking. Plinking's fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have a question because I know this is available in 40 caliber for pistols and 9mm rounds. Is the 223 5.56 available as a frangible round?
Yeah. I don't know if you can buy it. I don't know if you can buy those as a civilian.
Why
I
wouldn't you
mean,
be able
they
to?
do have some soft points, and they do have some hollow points.
The hollow
But
point and soft point in a frangible round are very different.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
that's what you're going to be able to go get. As far I don't know that I've ever seen any of that Larry's, but it's also something I don't really. So I
Oh,
don't
do we just
Well-
plug a business and we didn't charge him?
know. Larry, my friend Larry, who lives down the street.
Oh, okay, I got you.
yeah.
We don't give anything out for free here.
I mean, even in an apartment, a frangible round will reduce,
yeah,
issues with penetration into other apartments. That's what they're designed to do. They're designed to hit something hard and disintegrate.
yeah. So
Soft
I don't
tissue,
know.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I usually advocate for pistol caliber carbine if you like to have a rifle in your hand to defend your whatever. Just because it's going to spread really far and stop really quickly.
Yeah.
Ben says he's never seen it in a 5.56.
Yeah, Ben is
Okay.
another. He's a shithead, obviously, because his jokes are shit. But he's a he's a aficionado of guns as well.
The only two things I've ever used a 223 for, and it was actually a 223, was target shooting. And growing up, we used 223s, setting off back from a distance. When the groundhog stuck his head up, we
Yeah.
dropped his ass
Yeah.
because he was
Yeah.
getting into the garden and eating stuff.
There are groundhogs in Alabama that you can't kill with a 22. Just in case anybody's listening, and they're like, "Oh my God, you heartless animals." Yeah, there's some groundhogs that you just can't kill with 22s.
I haven't
Right.
seen one.
Very fucking random. Yeah, kill them with a 223.
Yeah,
And you eat 'em
Laura,
for their
Laura Lane loves her 9mm, by the way.
I love my 9mm too.
I
Laura
love your
Lane.
9mm too.
You love my
I-
9mm?
I prefer a 40.
I prefer a 9mm.
I prefer a blunt and a 40. That's pretty much
There we go.
going back to the days of Compton.
Shit, yeah. Coming
Yeah.
straight out of Compton. But back to the fucking solutions,
Yeah.
right? And so,
I was waiting
So-
for someone to steer this back because I hate being the boat anchor. It's like, all right, guys, let's go. Let's wrap this back in. How are we gonna tie this shit back in?
yeah, no shit. So I'm not going to call out this shit show of a school that my kids go to as far as their security goes, right? But the very first time I went to pick up the children, it was only one kid, and she's not even mine. She's my niece, right? I'm going through the car line. I'm like, you typically have numbers. I don't have numbers. I'm just like, I'm here to get this kid. And they're like, okay, send this kid up to the front. And I picked the kid up. It's that simple. I could have easily hopped out of my car and gone run inside or whatever. I went to pick him up early one day, and I just walked into the front door and could have walked into the rest of the doors if I wanted to, if I had a gun. I could have just walked in and done whatever I want. At my two oldest daughters, their elementary school that they went to in South Carolina, in the middle of fucking nowhere. They didn't need this much security, but they had it. So I go knock on the door, right? You have to ring the doorbell. Then they ask you what you need, and you tell them what you need. And then you hold up your driver's license to the window, to the thing, and they look at it. And then they look at your sheet, and they're like, okay, either you're authorized or you're not authorized. If you're authorized, they'll ring you in. Then you go into a man trap, and behind a bulletproof glass, you hand your license over. They keep your license, they give you a sticker, and then you can move on to the next area if they've scanned you or whatever, and they say you're not dangerous.
Wow.
So that's a lot of fucking shit, but it doesn't cost that much money. That much more money. When you're going to build $1 million school, throw in a $15,000 man trap in there. It's not that big a deal. Keep the fucking doors locked. Why? How is a former student able to be on campus at all? Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
But at elementary schools, you go outside for recess. How many times? I mean, when I was a kid, I just happened to remember this. But they prop the door open. They put one of those little plastic chairs to hold the door open. So for whatever reason. But I mean, how hard would it be to have a lock? How hard? Just a little cipher lock where they change the code every couple weeks or whatever. I think hardening the schools is a much more cost-effective than arming all the teachers. But
Oh, yes.
it's just really fucking simple. Lock the goddamn doors.
Yeah.
Buy some cameras from Sam's Club. They have an 8-pack of cameras that are HDR and do night vision and shit for like $499. I mean,
Well, I know the school that you're talking about, and they do have a resource officer who's attached to the Limestone County Sheriff's Department. But that's pretty much it. And it's a big school for an elementary school. They just put a huge addition on, not a year or so ago. So there's really, honestly, logistically speaking, there's no way that one resource officer is going to be able to prevent any type of atrocity from happening if it's on the other side of the school.
Yeah,
because by the time it gets there, it's going to be done.
Yeah,
So that's fine, locking the doors. The problem, we see it also in inner city schools. People are huge advocates for metal detectors, and security staff and this, that, and the other. But the problem I start to see is, schools are supposed to be an institution of learning. At what point do they start becoming more like prisons?
Yeah.
Where everyone's locked down for the entire day, and they're stuck in this bulletproof building. It kind of would, like, set some things in motion. I would think from the psychology aspect of it.
Yeah. You got a really good point. But for me, these suggestions are not to quell concerns that you and I have. They're to quell concerns of everyone else. What are we going to do about the kids? What do we do about the kids?
Yeah.
Our kids need to be protected. Well, fucking protect them. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, there was a guy who was, this is probably 2 years ago. Couldn't even dig up the source if I wanted to, where he was standing guard outside of his kid's school, and they forced him to leave because he wasn't supposed to be on school grounds. Even though I think he was a Marine, if memory serves. I think he may have been he got in trouble for wearing his Marine uniform. I remember that. But he was on leave, so he would stand there 8 hours a day and guard the school. I don't think he was armed.
And I think this was shortly after another shooting too.
Oh, probably. Yeah, God,
and,
probably.
He wanted to make sure that everyone knew that not here, not
And
this place.
And I think that if schools would pull their heads out of the state's ass long enough and actually work with the parents, that if there's a security concern, enough parents will say, yeah, I'm willing to take 4 hours once a month, to be on school property in case something, to help protect my kid and everybody else's kid. I'm sure you'd have enough people to do it.
Yeah.
Ben just said he services several schools in Tennessee. They don't even check his ID or examine his tool bag. And that was after Sandy Hook. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into Sandy Hook. I will come across as major conspiracy theorists, because there's a lot of shit that doesn't add up with Sandy Hook, and the fact that people buy into it hook, line, and sinker, no thank you.
It's not the only one. I mean, for me, I'm probably the least conspiracy theorist person you'll meet. I'm constantly going. Oh,
yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
And
Shit.
The one that stands out for me though was Las Vegas as conspiracy theory. Yeah,
there's
central.
some shady shit about that.
That's fishy.
Honestly, all these mass shootings are shady as hell.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter, and especially in the libertarian space, you have libertarians who are like, oh, just don't question anything, believe the official story. I'm like, first off, this is not the libertarian stance. Typically, libertarians question everything and accept nothing as truth.
Yeah. Even from themselves.
Even from themselves. This is probably explains a lot what's going on with just libertarians as a whole. But it's just the things just don't add up, and I've got since we've had all these massive tragedies. If things don't add up, I'm automatically kind of like, all right, I'm good. You have multiple reports. You have multiple kids saying there's multiple shooters. Nobody's saying anything about this in this recent shooting. Same thing with the Vegas deal. That got swept under the rug. There's things that aren't being addressed that are being kind of pushed aside.
All the goddamn witnesses are dead.
Thank you. That's all these witnesses who are going to come forward, they're gone or missing. That's not shady as hell. No, let's just believe the real story. We can't even trust our own government to be transparent and honest.
No,
we can't. And that's you want to get rid of conspiracy theorists and these random things you see on Facebook. Yeah, maybe put people into office that aren't shady as shit. That might be a good solution.
Well, for me personally. Don't trust government. Period. End of discussion.
There it is.
Don't trust government. Period.
And honestly, if you think that the mainstream media is independent thought,
God no,
you're fucking mistaken as shit. You've got some soul searching to do.
Yeah.
Halston, do you think that CNN and Fox News are independent journalism?
Yes, absolutely. I watch them religiously, and I believe everything they say.
All right, so I think Halston and I need to reevaluate our friendship.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, you guys are both right. I mean, it's when it comes to like I don't know how much of each conspiracy theory I buy into, but there's definitely some shady shit. But if you're taking everything for granted that CNN and Fox News and MSNBC tell you about certain situations, I mean, how many times have they said the word assault rifle? Like, how many times have they used that phrase? It's a fucking made up term.
Too many.
From a marketing and psychology perspective, that's a trigger phrase that automatically evokes an emotional reaction, and they're trying to get a negative reaction out of it.
And they do.
Yeah. Oh, very well so. I mean,
that's a good shit joke, Ben. Hello, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to 15 years ago.
But this is the stuff that we're talking about it ties into my main types of solutions. So you start having these problems, and whether you believe that these things are really happening or not is irrelevant, because there still has to be some solution come from someone. So why do we always jump to, well, let's get the government involved. Let's get some mental health help. Let's get some
The government's already involved. They
Right.
run the fucking school.
Right, exactly. They run the school. It's their fault that the shit happens in the first place.
Yep.
But anyways,
Well, especially
but
in this
why
case.
can't we? Why don't we try to? Now, when I say we, I don't mean you, us three. Why don't we as a society buy into this type of shit and go after the the private sector like they do on everything else? Right? Abortion clinics. You got 1,000 Christians standing outside an abortion clinic, and there's signs of dead babies and you're a whore and all this shit that these people have to walk up through. If you feel so goddamn passionately about it, go stand out front of your local gun store and tell everybody how they're a murderer as they're walking up. You ain't going to get a very good response.
Nope.
But go protest. Get off your fucking ass and quit asking other people to do it.
There's one big difference, though.
Well, yeah.
Protesting an abortion center, okay, yeah, that's one thing. Protesting in front of a gun store and the kind of people coming in and out,
so
you're more likely to get your ass kicked.
Well, that's fine. I mean, that's fine too. But
apparently it's okay to punch a Nazi, so
it is okay.
It's okay to punch a, it works.
Punch a protester.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily protesting, right? But it's there could be a free market solution to this type of issue, right? All the gun stores in the area to say, you know what, we're not going to sell you a gun unless you take training. One of our sponsored training. We come together, we say, all right, the NRA has the best training program. We're going to all use that.
Fuck
if you
the
take
NRA.
training. Yeah, I don't like them either. But I'm just saying, as an example, you tab whatever the standard is for each private company, and they say this is what we're going to teach. If you have this card, you can buy a firearm. If not, here, sign up for a class.
Well,
Or
you can even take it one step further. The insurance companies that
Yeah.
ensure that provide the liability coverage for these gun ranges and gun shops could even say, hey, look, in order to sell this type of gun, this type of gun, this type of gun, you gotta make sure that you have the certification paperwork on file. This person took a training class.
Yep, absolutely.
Free market solution right there.
Or there's a guy in Bellevue, Washington, that a friend of mine from Seattle shared it. This guy's like, you know what? If you're under 21, I'm not selling you a gun. Period. I don't give a shit what the law says. I'm not selling you a gun, and he doesn't have to.
Mm-mm.
So there are solutions that these private companies can come up with. Manufacturers can just say, you know what? We're done manufacturing the AR-15. And if there's a need for it, someone will come back out and start manufacturing it again. But if not, so be it.
Hell, as far as I know, the original company isn't even in existence anymore.
Armalite, yeah, they're still in existence.
Are they?
Just not the same, not at the same level. You can still buy Armalite brand, but they're making their money on the budget side. They sell Eagle firearms and another one.
Yeah. No, Ben's got a good point. I like it. Yeah, because that's true. Meaning, we'll kind of shift a little bit to his point that the government arrests people who try to find, voluntary and free market solutions. You look at Orlando. Orlando is one of the worst cities when it comes to trying to feed the homeless.
Yeah.
You got like 70, 80-year-old guys who go out there to feed the homeless who get arrested because there's some sort of law against feeding homeless people. Well, call me old-fashioned, but if a law is immoral, it deserves to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, well, it's not your job to do it. Whose job is it? You're gonna rely on the people who made the law to take the law away? No, that's stupid talk.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, I'm just kind of reading some of the comments, and I guess Katie enjoys playing Punch a Nazi. It's a fun game. I'm not sure.
As long as you
Not
give them the
really.
opportunity to punch back.
Okay.
Fair.
Let's be clear on something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a
When
role
it
play
comes-
thing you guys do? You put on a Nazi outfit?
Maybe I could
No.
I could so see Horace dressed up.
When it comes to my wife, her general answer to just about any problem
It's a Punch a
is
Nazi.
Nougat from Orbit, it's the only way to be sure.
Yes, I totally agree.
That's right.
I got that. You know,
That's-
that's Trump's philosophy when it comes to North Korea. That's North Korea's philosophy when it comes to us. I mean, it's going to do wonders. It's going to do wonders for our future generations. Let me tell you.
my wife is a very violent person. Okay, you know.
But she's also one of the sweetest people ever,
That's
and I
another
love her
thing.
dearly. So please
Another
don't be
thing we
violent
have in
against me.
common, Katie. I too like punching people and nuking people from
I do
orbit.
too. I was telling you the other day in the gym
Yeah.
because Halls and I actually go to the gym together. We actually came back from the gym and we actually ran into somebody who had heard of our show at the gym, which is
Yeah.
totally.
We were
blew my
like,
mind.
what the fuck?
But yeah, it's
We
just
didn't
like
even
you
know
know.
people listen to us.
I think it was last week. I looked at him and I was like, I would just love to get into a fight.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm just at that point where it's just like, I just Fight Club.
Yeah.
Need it. But you see, the thing is I understand personal responsibility, and I understand, you know, it's not cool for me to go around punching people just because I don't like the way they're looking or the way they're talking. You know,
Right.
That's a no go. You know.
Yeah.
Call me.
I want to get
call
punched
me
in the face
alt
too.
right. Call me the white power guy. Sure, you know, fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't think punching a Nazi or anything like that is actually an appropriate behavior for mature society. But who's
No.
to say that we're a mature society?
No. If there was a way for me to goad a Nazi to punch me, then I would be like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
great, yeah. Well,
Let's do it.
knock that
Let's
mustache back
throw
to the
down.
back of
Let's
his
throw
fucking
down.
head.
In that case, though, you're defending yourself.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you can manipulate any situation if you're
Which
good enough.
brings me to another fucking point.
All right. Well, we're
Not
at
sure.
an hour,
I
so
don't know.
let's-
Yeah. Well, I'll wrap this up really quickly. But this was the overwhelming idea that I got from this is that there are tons of people that their only concern is taking care of the children. Right. The children need to be safe, so they don't give a shit what type of gun we want to own. They don't care. It's time to take the shit away. Right. But the other side is we want to have these guns so that we can protect our families. So we don't give a shit that you want to take our guns away. We don't give a shit. So there's this dichotomy that's fucking always busting heads that they want their children to be more safe than my children, and I want my children to be more safe than their children. And it's just you can't solve fucking problems that way.
part of it comes from a flawed logic, in that
Flawed
we have-
logic. Oh God.
we
Where are we
have
going with
a
this one?
right to be safe.
Right.
Okay, let's test this right.
Yeah.
Let me drop you off stark naked in the middle of an island somewhere full of all kinds of dangerous animals and venomous creatures. Let's see how fucking safe you feel.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think, you're not going to feel very safe. So, well, your right has just failed. So it's
Yeah.
not a fucking right.
Yeah, the whole verbiage of right is kind of very loosely
right.
translated.
Katie's Horace is referring to Australia. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And
true.
we're full circle. Thank you, Katie.
Oh, that's right.
But yes, you're absolutely right. You don't have a right to be safe, but you do have a right to protect yourself.
Yes.
And I do get the sentiment that you want your children to be safe, and I don't give a shit what either one of you want when it comes to my child's safety. But you two motherfuckers shouldn't give a shit what I want when it comes to protecting you and your family. That's where you can't start the solution from there. You can't start the solution. You know what? We disagree, so let's go ahead and start from there. And
Yeah.
that never solves any problems. So maybe there's something we can do, but I don't think banning guns or banning any specific type of gun is the answer, and I don't think opening up new mental health clinics is the answer either.
Well, I think I think we can conclusively prove that banning particular weapons will do effectively nothing. Why?
But
We've
it happened
already
in
done
Australia.
it. Well, no,
You
we've
can't.
already done it.
You,
Yes,
you,
we have already done.
you can't outlaw intent. That's
Right.
the problem, is that they have this intent. So instead of saying we're going to go after the tool of choice, let's look at the intent. And everyone wants to blame it on mental illness. Everybody's got some sort of fucking mental problem. You know, that's the whole psychiatry industry, is everybody's broken. And that's not necessarily true. Look at the intent. Why is the intent there? You know, take it one step further. In Six Sigma we call it the 5 whys. It's root cause analysis. Everyone's stopping at the gun, and maybe they're going a little bit further back to the intent or the mental illness. Let's go even further back. You know, by the time the philosophy behind 5 whys is, by the time you ask why 5 times, you're going to see what the root causes are. Sometimes it'll be 3 times, sometimes it'll be 4 times, but typically by the time you hit 5, you're seeing what the actual root causes of whatever problem there is. So, but no one wants to spend the time and the energy to actually dig that deep. They want a knee-jerk reaction. You know, if honestly, like when the guy in France was driving trucks through the crowd of people and killing people left and right, where was the call to ban trucks? It wasn't there. Why? Because that's fucking stupid.
Right.
They looked at it as, okay, well, then why'd he do this? They did a little bit more digging. Here, we're not seeing that. Nobody wants to take the time to actually see, okay, this was just a crazy motherfucker.
Well, because doing so doesn't help political agendas.
Yes,
right.
and
And
that's
then
what it's all about.
That's what, 100%.
I think
even inside the libertarian circles, the amount of libsock trash that is spewing is just mind blowing.
yes, it is mind blowing.
I agree, Kylie. Kylie, I was the same way. I grew up in a home that I could not even have toy guns. The first time I ever shot a gun was in basic training at Fort Benning. I shot an M16. And so, I totally understand where you're coming from on that. I couldn't have no water pistols or anything like that. Very anti-gun household.
And there's a new, like, that very one of her, she used to be her, notice how she said little brothers? She didn't say big brother, just pointing that out. But there are those who are like, yeah, well, let's just make it harder. Absolutely. Make them go kill them with a butter knife. Well, is that what you want? Do you want your child to have his neck slit with a butter knife? You know, like, that's morbid as fuck, but is that what you want? Get the fuck
On that
out of here.
note, let's just discuss gun bans and their effects and what happens from there.
Well, you talking about the UK now?
Oh, yes, I'm about to go to the UK.
I have a good friend of mine. I don't know if she's watching or not, Philippa. If you are friends with me on Facebook, you'll see me comment on her stuff. She is my token British friend. She is from the other side of the pond, and yes, we should actually bring her on sometime to talk about this topic, because she's actually a pro gun. I guess she's pro gun. She likes a lot of what I post, so maybe we should bring her on and get the UK perspective on topics like this.
Yeah.
Well, me and her, went back and forth a little bit the other day, and when she said something about what I'm about to talk about, and I said to her what I'm about to say here, and her response was a gif of.
Nope.
So, the UK has long been a essentially gun-free society. Well, hasn't deterred crime or violence or anything else, and it has reached a point to where knife attacks have gotten so bad, the British government is now looking to ban knives. And when I say knives, I don't mean just, machetes, swords, Bowie knives. They're talking about banning kitchen knives as well. Pretty much anything above a paring knife. You would not be able to own a chef's knife under this rule.
That's amazing.
You cannot ban yourself to freedom, and you cannot ban yourself to security. It's one of those things where you have to take the good with the bad.
It all goes back to what are you trying to prevent? Because all these motherfuckers are just trying to prevent mass shootings. They don't give a shit that someone is killing each other in Chicago or Detroit or whatever. They don't give a shit about that. They don't give a shit that there are crimes being committed. They care about mass shootings in this country. UK is fucking different. They're weird. They drink tea and shit.
Because mass shootings are good for politicization.
Right. And that's all it is, and that's all they care about. Like someone said, the knee jerk is what gets views, and that's absolutely correct.
It's
Hey,
a
Ben.
good chance to try the gun grab.
Hey Ben,
Yep.
I think I'm more concerned about the Tide Pods more than anything else.
Yeah.
And for going to the gun grab, anybody that says, "Well, no one's out to take all of your guns,"
They're full of shit.
you're a fucking fool.
Yeah.
You have not been paying a fucking attention. If you spend any time online researching the topic, you can find a range of people, including high-level elected officials, who have said exactly that.
They were
every
literally.
single gun.
There was like a 3,000 comment thread that I was looking at the other day that were literally discussing repealing the Second Amendment.
Oh yeah.
Now, all three of us understand that the Constitution doesn't give you rights, right? There's not a piece of paper's not saying, "Oh, look, you can have a gun." Like, but they're literally talking about repealing the protection that it gives us.
And
So yeah, they are trying to grab guns.
I really liked what somebody said to that. Well, while we're at it, we need to repeal the first two. I mean, all they had was, hand crank manual printing presses back then. We didn't have all the internet and all the other stuff, so we need to repeal the first two.
Yeah.
No free
Get the
speech.
Fuck out of here. Yeah.
It's
It's just-
fuck it all. And I mean, what is that? I can't.
No, that's I was responding to Laura Lane's
Ah,
comment without interrupting anybody.
okay.
See,
I can't make out the
Katie,
line.
I prefer dishwasher pods too. Those Cascade
Oh.
Platinums are where it's at,
I
man.
know, right? Got
But-
that
It's
minty
like a mix
taste.
between Pixie Stick and York Peppermint Patty.
Going back to the Second Amendment and the Constitution, and fuck the Constitution. Just fuck it. Lysander Spooner said it best with whether it be one thing or whether it be another, this much is sure. Either the Constitution has allowed such government as we have today, or it has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist.
Yep.
And this was in 1870.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Less than 100 years after the signing.
I agree with you, but that doesn't fucking solve any problems.
Yeah. That's a great topic for another show. Let's
It is. It is. But and you're absolutely right. Yeah. He's right. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we're an hour and 12 into it. So
Yeah.
what else we got? Quick points, guys.
Quick points. Yeah.
Herding kittens over here. I'm
I
herding
mean-
little kitties.
We've been mass killing each other for 10,000 fucking years. It started with clubs, and then it went to spears, and then we're stabbing each other with sticks, and then we're throwing javelins, and then we're doing bows and arrows, and then it's swords, and then we're dumping hot oil on people and catching them on fire.
You are taking the entire historical
Yes.
book of
and then it's
warfare.
fucking crossbows, and then it's shotguns and muskets and all. I mean,
I
we've
think
been doing
muskets
this
came
for
before
10.
shotguns.
No, well, the first one were shotguns. The first one, so they didn't fire one projectile. Filed
okay, I see what you're
the
saying.
blunderbuss.
Blunderbuss.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then on and on and on and on and on. We've been doing this for fucking ever. Like, I don't think we're going to stop mass killing people. So, I mean, so I would still like to be able to protect my family from someone mass killing me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, it doesn't really fucking
You
matter.
know, and
I mean,
on
none of
that
this matters.
note,
This
on
whole
that
show
note-
doesn't matter.
on that
I give
note,
up. I want to bed.
on that note,
Noted.
for those who do want to ban this gun or that gun or whatever, I have two things to say for you. You have just made yourself my enemy because you're telling me I can't how I can defend myself.
Right.
Fuck you. Just fuck you. Okay? The other thing. There's
You love
something
your
else.
wife.
I love my wife, yes.
Sucker.
We got the fuck you down part. We got that.
Yeah. And Fibro's been acting up lately, and my mental clarity has not been the best, and I have just spaced completely
Oh.
on that thought. But
Well,
I know what the other thing was.
Damn it.
If-
I gotta pee.
This goes back to something I have said before. In fact, I wrote an article on our webpage about it. If you truly believe the particular guns should be banned, you yourself need to get off your goddamn fat ass and come collect them. And when you do, odds are somebody's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little
So,
harsh, but yeah, you're right.
have you
Yeah,
got the guts to do it, or are you too much of a coward and you have to ask someone else to do it for you?
They're too much coward. Too much of a coward.
So,
but-
I don't know. I guess ending on it, you know, you don't want shitty kids. It starts in the home. You know,
oh God, yeah.
stop being shitty parents. Be more involved. You know, there's, you know, you say you love your kids. I don't doubt that. But maybe, you know, if you want to see some change in shit that goes on like this, maybe you got to take a step back and look at yourself a little bit. What are you not doing right? You know, are you putting too much faith in the government? You passing the buck? You're not taking personal responsibility?
If you're
That's on
putting
you.
faith in the government, you're putting too much. Period.
Exactly.
And also,
You
if
know.
you're talking about banning guns, know what the fuck you're talking about.
Please be
Absolutely.
educated.
If you're trying to tell me that they couldn't have gone into that school with a Glock 17 with a 33 round magazine and shot that many kids, you're out of your goddamn mind. So stop
Or,
trying to tell me that you want to
you
ban
know-
this one and not ban that one. You're full of shit. You want them all.
Let's take a hunting rifle, which, you know, this is what we were discussing here, the Ruger Mini 14.
Yeah.
You can get a dual drum 100-round magazine for that son of a bitch.
Yeah. You can get a 50 round magazine for a pump action shotgun.
You know, I mean...
I have a 12 round rotating magazine for a blowgun, and I'm a bad motherfucker with it. You know,
Yeah.
maybe not high
I
school.
synced it. I synced it.
Elementary school. You know what I mean?
So-
His blowing skills on point.
On point. cuz. From behind.
Oh, Lordy.
Easy, everybody.
Easy.
I got-
This is a
I got
family-friendly
members
show,
watching.
right?
Family
All
members
right.
are watching.
I think we've kind of wasted everybody's time.
I
enough.
think
Yeah.
so. I mean, this is a pretty entertaining show, though. I think this is one of the
Yeah.
ones that should have gone over.
And I
And it did
think,
go
well,
over.
it has gone over a little bit. And, you know, I think in this case, you know, we actually have seen, and I think largely from you, Halston, real solutions that could actually work.
So, was that a fuck you, Luke?
think it
Just to
was.
be sure. I think
Yeah,
it
it
was.
No,
I think
it
it was.
wasn't.
That's what it sounded like. That's what
I'm
it
just
sounded
trying
like.
to, like, the Fibro's been acting up, so my mental clarity's not the best, but I mean, the solutions that I can actually remember and going, yeah, that would actually, you know, that could actually work. Like the man trap,
Right.
you know, the controlled access. That
Hey,
would
well-
fucking work.
I'm always down for a good man trap.
You know, so-
now we're talking.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Lemonsqueezers.org. What's it called?
although was it which one of y'all said
Lemonparty.org.
just
Lemon
which one of y'all
party.
just said which one of y'all said just lock the doors?
Me.
that
Yeah, just
was
lock
awesome.
the doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Basic,
Yeah.
simple solutions, people.
you know, I mean,
Don't
again,
let 19-year-old kids that aren't supposed to be on campus. Really
With
fucking
a gun.
simple. With a gun.
A gun that is not easily concealable.
Yeah. See something, say something. That's one of the. I got to make this point real quick. Got to. Last point.
Okay.
Swear. I
All
promise. Right. So I like being PC. Right. If you don't like being called a certain name because it hurts your feelings and a bunch of other people, I'm not going to call you that name. And if you want me to call you something specific, I'm going to call you something specific. But if you are a fucking weird person doing weird shit, I'm going to call you out on it. So if you're a weird fucking kid drawing pictures of the girl sitting beside you and you're stabbing her in the eyeballs with a pencil, I'm going to fucking call you out on it because that's fucking weird. Nobody is calling motherfuckers out for being weird anymore. And if they are, the FBI is not doing their goddamn job. So
Well,
call the people out, and the FBI needs to do their job. If you're going to get paid for doing something, at least you got to do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and that is something I've been seeing a lot, especially relating to this particular case, because of the number of calls, because the amount of information, you know, law enforcement agencies had and everything. You know, see something, say something only works when they do something.
Right. You're absolutely right. But there have been countless interviews with this particular kid where they were like, oh, we knew something was going to happen. Yeah, we thought it was a matter of time. Yeah, he was being a little weird. He was acting like, well, motherfucker,
Well,
now's not the time to tell us.
in all fairness, I'm a little weird, and the last thing I need is the cops showing up every time someone thinks I'm doing something weird.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
but you
I mean,
you
that
haven't been
would,
coloring pictures of your. I mean, maybe you have. You know what? Maybe you have.
You
But-
don't know what I do, sir. Don't
That's
don't
true.
assume you know me.
That's
And don't
true.
assume my gender.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been weird, but I would be okay if someone was like, you know what, Halston's fucking weirdo, and the cops showed up all the time and be like, yeah, I'm getting tired of this shit,
I'm just
but I am
weird.
a little weird.
Officer, I'm just weird.
I like wearing really short shorts.
I do too.
That's weird. But you know what? I can't hide a big gun in them. But shh.
Neither can I.
Yeah,
So,
you can
All
hide a
right,
big
so
gun in my
okay.
shorts.
I'm so. Hey, Soria. Soria just joined. He's an old drinking buddy from Germany. California Reserves. When I was out in Landstuhl. He popped in like the last 5 minutes. So hey, Soria, I wanted to give him a wave.
Oh, wait a
Anyway,
minute. Kevin Randall's in here too. My cousin, Kevin Randall Porter.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, Kevin.
very cool. Hey, Kevin. Anyways, well, you guys joined just as we were starting to close the show.
Yep.
So I'm scared to ask if there's any more last words. I think I've already said that. Do we need just any more last words?
No, I think we've covered it.
Good. Halston, last words.
I mean, fuck mass shooters, man.
Hey, that's what I'm
They
saying.
ruin everything.
And fuck Massachusetts, because it kind of works together.
Hmm.
Anyways, you've wasted another hour and 20 minutes of your life with us. You could have been doing a hell of a lot more better things, but you decided to spend it with us, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yes,
Check
we
us
do.
out Facebook if you're watching this not on Facebook. It's Uncivil Liberty Show. Like our page, share our page. We could use a couple more followers. Check out our Twitter. We don't really do much, but hey, we'd like to have one.
We'd like to
YouTube,
tweet you.
we'd like to tweet, and podcasts. We got the podcast going too. So we've got a lot of different avenues. Shoot us an email.
Yes.
Yeah, we're still waiting on nudie pics from Jeff Sessions. Horace
Please,
at uncivilliberty.com.
Jeff Sessions, nudie pics, please.
Oh, I've been asking for that for
And
weeks,
I-
and nobody's coming through. I'm really
And if
just
you send it to the email that Luke keeps giving, and you are on any of our social media that I'm an administrator of, I will ban your ass so goddamn fast. Your head will not have time to spin.
come on, it's Jeff Sessions, nudie porn. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
I don't
Anyway.
care. There are things I do not want to say.
Well,
No,
it doesn't matter what you want.
That's right. Sure.
I would rather watch Two Girls, One Cup.
Me
Wow.
too.
With
So-
Jeff Sessions.
How about Jeff?
No,
can
then
can Jeff Sessions be the cup?
Oh, that's good. All right, we're done. We're done here.
okay, yes.
We're done.
Good
Dude,
night, all.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
I'm sorry.